back to another edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again are my co-hosts, Richie O'Leary and Alec Krauthamel. We are on the eve of training camp, and we have some big news. The highest ranked player in the class of 2026, Wydeek Collier, who's ranked 92nd in the Rivals 300, has reclassified to the class of 2025 and will be enrolling immediately at Rutgers University and be a member of the football team for the 2025 season. So we'll get into how that came together and the implications of that. We'll get into things to kind of look out for in training camp because that starts tomorrow. Alec and I believe, will you guys both be there tomorrow for Shiano's presser?
Yeah, I believe
I'll be there, yeah. So I guess both of us will be.
So both of Alec and Richie will be there tomorrow for when Greg speaks to the media and for whatever access and practice they allow us to have. And we'll also get into a little bit about the athletic director search. The search firm that Rutgers hired to help with the search is no longer employed by the university, so we'll get into what's going on there. But first, let's talk about Wydeek Collier. So we had talked about, how he has seen a rapid rise in the recruiting rankings and how that attention has drawn some new schools into the fray, and he was solidly committed. But this was one that was going to be a slog till the end for Rutgers to hold on to him, and they avoid that entirely by having him enroll early in the class of 2025 and be a member of the Scarlet Knights football team. Rich, this we've seen happen twice already in this class with the two corners, with Kenan Marshall and with his name's fun to say, but I can't think of it at this moment.
Latrell
Noel. Yep. So we've seen three guys now reclassify from 26 to 25 to immediately join the team. Mm-hmm. This seems like a different situation, though, because it's not like he was a lightly recruited guy who was, on the border of going to prep school or not, and, was basically a high school graduate. We've been kind of wondering where he's going to end up for his next academic institution, I guess. We were, speculating maybe it was going to be St. Francis in Baltimore, maybe it was going to be another top Philly program. But no, we were wrong. It's Rutgers University. How did this come together, Rich?
So, when he, I want to say he announced, 2-3 months ago, maybe a month ago even, that he was going to change high schools. He was going to no longer go to Newman Goretti. He's trying to figure some things out. I know he had a chance to go to another Philadelphia school. You can kind of speculate on that one however you want, to be honest. But obviously that didn't end up happening. The other option was reclassify and go to Rutgers. And Rutgers has done a great job of figuring out a way that if kids have enough credits to enroll early if they can. And why not? I know you miss out on your senior year, and that kind of stinks in that aspect because you do miss out on some little stuff, whether it be I shouldn't even say little stuff because prom's a big thing for high school kids. So you miss out on your senior prom, you miss out on your senior year of high school football. He was doing travel basketball on the side too. There was a couple highlights I think we posted, I want to say a month ago or maybe less than that or maybe more than that. But you do miss out on a lot of things, but he's going to go to Rutgers immediately and he'll be on the team. I believe he'll be on the roster tomorrow when we get it. So we'll see how that ends up working out. I don't think he'll play much. He's still very skinny and still very raw, but to get him on campus early, especially because of the rankings boost, and for people that say rankings don't matter, the minute he got that rankings boost, you saw, if you follow him on social media, and that doesn't mean the interest was reciprocated, but you saw Florida coaches flood his follows. You saw Mississippi State. You saw Penn State trying to up the ante once again. Penn State tried to get him on a visit this past June. Wasn't able to. Wasn't successful. He was a heavy Penn State lean at one point. Mississippi State. There's several others that were just trying to push for him. So this is just huge, not only for Rutgers to get him signed and sealed and delivered, but the fact that you were able to keep him away from all these other big name schools that were going to probably up the ante in the next couple months.
Yeah, Alec, what are your thoughts on Wydeek enrolling early and joining the Scarlet Knights?
The biggest takeaway for me is it gets him in the strength program immediately. Obviously a big part of his development is going to be putting on some muscle and putting on some weight. Actually, it's funny. He announced that he wasn't going to be attending Newman Goretti. I think it was the day after we saw him at the Under Armour camp where he kind of just lit the whole thing on fire. Won defensive line MVP. He was definitely the best lineman that we saw there. And when I talked to him there, he said the coaching staff's biggest message has been, doing your part, which is putting some more weight on, and we'll do ours. And obviously Rutgers is doing theirs by bringing him in this early. So It's definitely good. Obviously, like you said, it keeps him away from some of the bigger recruiting fish out there. It seemed like, obviously, if you follow recruiting, once some of those big dogs start getting involved, it can be hard to keep guys committed. So they kind of shield them away from all that as well. Just get him in the weight program immediately. I would be very surprised if he plays a game this year, just because the development is going to be so important for him this year. And obviously, as he keeps developing with Rutgers, but just getting him on that development track immediately is huge, because like I said, that's going to be the biggest swing factor in his development. Can he continue to put on that muscle and be a legitimate Big Ten pass rusher? I mean, the measurables are out of this world for defensive line. I think he measured at 6'7", 215 at the camp. He's got an 83-inch wingspan, which is 6'11", which is absolutely unreal. He ran a laser 4.58 40. So the measurables and the athletic traits speak for themselves. Now it's about continuing to put on that weight. In my story, I didn't compare him to, but I said like a potential target for a potential build could be someone like James Pierce Jr. with Tennessee this past year. Now he's with the Atlanta Falcons. He was 245 at the NFL draft combine, so putting on about 30 pounds should be a pretty good target with his athletic traits. So obviously much easier said than done, putting on that muscle and that weight while keeping up your athletic traits. But yeah, it's definitely a really good way to just get him involved immediately and shield him away from some of those programs that were going to come hunting after him, and just start that development track early.
Yeah, like you said, you guys both saw him this spring at the Under Armour camp. He won defensive line MVP there. You guys came away really impressed. I know, Rich, you did a hand time, and you're like, you just ran 4.4 something at this size.
Yeah.
Given you guys have had a pretty recent look at him, given that he's had kind of a universal rise, I don't think anybody's who has a recruiting service has not given him a pretty huge spike. You've had eyes on him. Do you think he's a kid who can come in and contribute this year? And if you do, is he still going to try? Or is he going to play under 4 games in redshirt? What's your kind of your vibe on what if he can play this year?
Yeah, I know. Alex just said it. I'd be shocked, honestly, if he plays this year. For what it's worth, that I hand timed it 4.4 something. I forget what it was. It was a 4.58 when it was all said and done. But for 6'7", 212. 4.58. It's still pretty impressive.
I'm pretty sure your hand time was a 4.43, and when I posted on
Alec,
Twitter,
I wasn't gonna say it, but come on, let it go. The hand
okay,
time.
I'm only saying it
I messed
because
up.
I had some people roasting me too. So
I have a clock. I'm using my iPhone. I'm using a little clock on here. Like if it doesn't register, I'm sorry. I apologize.
0.15 is actually pretty good. I'll say that.
See, all right, fine. I'll take the compliment. So anyway, yeah, I'd be shocked if he plays this year. I just don't see it happening. There's too many defensive linemen, especially at the edge positions now, that I just don't see him getting many snaps. I'm sure you could probably sneak him on the field for, like, say, the Norfolk State game, maybe. I don't see him playing against – because I think Miami, Ohio, and Ohio are decent. I'm not going to even say, like, good. I think they're just –
picked top 3 in the MAC preseason poll. So I think Ohio was 2, and I think Miami of Ohio was 3. Number 1 was Toledo. But, yeah, they're expected to be good MAC teams.
So I don't see him playing against those. But, like, if you do the math, like Eric O'Neal, Bradley Weaver, those are your starters. You have some kind of combination for backups of Jordan Walker, Jordan Thompson, Dijibril Abdul-Rahman as your, like, main 3 backups. After that, you still have DJ Allen, who's a senior now. They have a lot of young guys. Farrell Ganago. I don't know, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but he's a redshirt freshman now. He's going to get some playing time, I'm sure. I know they're high on him. A lot of freshmen coming in too. Like it's just going to be very tough, I feel like, for him to get to see the field. But I think the potential's there. This is like a true edge rusher potential. Like he is tall, he's lengthy, he's quick off the snap. He can bend at 6'7". And like you saw it in like the little highlight film that Alec put in his article too, and we put out a couple weeks ago after the Under Armour camp. Like he looked really, really good. And I mean, hell, there's a reason he went from unranked in the top 300 to number 91 overall. Like everyone thought the same. It wasn't just us.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe if he was a little bit bulkier, maybe he was 230, I could see him maybe finding his way into like a situational pass rusher role, or maybe finding his way to the 2 deep by the end of the year. But given how thin he is, and he's got a huge frame, so he can add a ton of weight, but given that he's still pretty thin, I have a tough time seeing him playing a ton. I don't think he's going to play 0 snaps though. I think you're going to find a way to I think he's too good, honestly, not to at least play a little bit, maybe in cleanup duty, preserve his red shirt, get his feet wet. Maybe by the time the bowl game rolls around, and we've all seen how bowl game rosters could look drastically different than how a regular season roster might look. But I could see him sneaking 3 or 4 games out of the season. But I think that the goal certainly should be to redshirt him. And if he does end up playing a ton, it's either one, he is so good that he's impossible to keep off the field, or 2, so many injuries have happened that it's a lost season. But huge to get him on campus for sure.
Someone in the Rutgers fan Discord said this, and I apologize for forgetting who, so I can credit you. But they said, imagine him on field goal block duty with his bend around the line of scrimmage and burst off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and that was what Kamoka Toure originally became pretty famous for, is those. I think he had like 4 field goal blocks in the first year or 2 of his career, and then he obviously became a full-time starter. But yeah, no, it's a huge deal because we were talking about this before we hopped on. Rich, the odds of keeping him if he doesn't enroll early, gotta say it's at best 50-50. This is a situation similar to kind of like Chase Linton, where Rutgers, ended up getting a kid who saw his recruitment blow up, and every big boy on the map was coming after him, and that seemed the way that this was going to be trending. So to get him enrolled is a huge coup for the class, for the staff rather.
I mean, listen, this is a kid similar to, let's say, Elias Koch, and even you can argue Tavian Branch is in this category too. Like, these are Pennsylvania kids that Penn State doesn't want to get away. They were technically Penn State leans at one point. I'm 99% sure that there's at least, I know for Elias Koch, I know he posted it. It was like post a graphic or something on social media that you didn't use. And it was just a commitment graphic from Penn State. And it's like, I know for a fact Wydeek Collier got one too. Like, these guys were all Penn State, like all the way. And then Rutgers got in late. I should say Rutgers got in late. Rutgers was there from the get-go. Rutgers pushed a little bit heavier late and was able to land both of them. Now you get Wydeek Collier on campus. He was getting pushed by Penn State despite being committed. And like I said before, Florida, who are some of the others? Let's see if I can go through them real quick. I had a whole list. All right, I can't find them. But Syracuse, Indiana, Florida, Sacramento State, which is a weird one. They just follow everybody. Kentucky. There's several, Mississippi State, Nebraska. Like, all these schools were going to start pursuing him more and more heavier as he got that new ranking. And that's when it goes, what I was saying before, like, rankings might not matter in some fans' eyes, and I get it to that aspect, because they're just, at the end of the day, everyone's kind of, I shouldn't say guessing, they're making educated guesses on this. But like, when you see a kid get a major ranking boost like that, all of a sudden these schools are like, who the hell is that kid? You watch more tape and you're like, I see it too. Shit, offer him. Oh shit, go after him. Like, we got to get him on campus ASAP. So like, it does play a little bit of a factor in recruitment. So it's not the end all be all, but it does play a factor. And end of the day, this is just huge for Rutgers. This is a great edge rusher get, one of the better in recent history. I'm trying to think if there's another edge rusher out there that's similar to his aspect from out of high school. I wouldn't say like transfer portal, but I mean, between Bradley Weaver, Eric O'Neill, Wydeek Collier, like, this is probably the best little defensive line haul they've had in a while.
Yeah, and it probably rockets the class of 2025 into best ever category for Rutgers.
It's very close. We haven't done the switch over yet. I know I submitted it, and we'll see how it ends up ranking. But like, 2025 was number 30 overall, and that obviously includes transfer portal guys too. They were 30 overall before Wydeek Collier. Wydeek Collier will be easily the highest ranked kid in that 2025 class, I think. Yeah, I'm looking right now. Yeah, he'll easily be the highest ranked kid in that 2025 class. Even if he doesn't maintain that 91 ranking, I still think he'll probably be in like the 100 to 120 20-ish range. So I think that he'll probably I don't know how many points this. I don't know how the new system works, to be honest, points wise. But it's going to be close. Like, I think the highest ever was 2012, and that was, 25 in the country? 24 in the country?
Sounds right, yeah.
Something like that. So, and then 26, that's not knock it. Like, they have a chance, if they keep adding guys, like, to be even closer, or close to that, too. Like, it's number 28 right now. It could go a little higher based on who they add. Of course, transfer portal obviously plays a role now too, so that always throws a little factor. Are they going to have another top 10 transfer portal haul? Who the hell knows? But either way, 2025 looks like it could be the best ever. We'll have to wait and see. It was number 25 overall in 2012. So we'll find out in the next day or two, I guess.
Speaking of in the next day or two, tomorrow, training camp kicks off. Greg Schiano will be speaking to the media. We'll also be getting Ethan Kaliak-Manis and additional players that will be revealed as those days happen. That's how it works. You guys get told kind of the day of who you're going to have available to you. Let's talk big picture, though. What are some things that you'll be closely paying attention to during training camp while we are on the eve of it starting? Rich, I'll let you start with this one.
Left tackle, left tackle, left tackle. I am watching that battle closer than ever. I think Tyler Needham is the guy, probably still the favorite for the position. I think they brought in Ryder Langsdale for a reason. I think he's a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for. Now, mind you, I don't have a ton of Lafayette tape in my computer just looking. I'm watching Lafayette versus like Richmond every day. Like, no, I'm just watching based on the little clips that are out there on top of the PFF numbers, on top of the accolades he's had. He's a multi-time all-conference offensive lineman. He was I think it was Phil Steele, 4th team All-American FCS, mind you. And he's just produced really at a high level at such a low school. I think he has a chance to compete for that left tackle job. I think Tyler Needham is solid. I think Ryder Langsdale might come in a little bit less than him, like in terms of skill level. But I think Ryder Langsdale has the higher ceiling. He looks more athletic. He's bigger. He fits that mold that Rutgers loves on those outside those bookends tackles. The tall, lengthy, bulkier guys. I think he's 6'7", whereas Tyler Needham's more 6'4", 6'3", around there. So he's a little bit on the smaller side. I think Tyler Needham was a great right tackle last year before the injury. So I think maybe he goes back to right and fights with Taj White for that gig. If it doesn't work out at left, or you just see who's the better left tackle and just go from there. Maybe they both just stay at left for the season because you're only going to have Langsdale for 1 year. I think Needham's in his last year too. So I think that's what I'm going to be paying the closest attention to, just because I'm really intrigued to see how that battle plays out, because it's going to depend on this offensive line, if this offense is able to take that next step or not.
I agree. It's just the whole offensive line in general. Like, it's just because we've gotten so many transfers this offseason, it's easy for kind of forget some of the guys that have come in. But we got Justin Cesare coming in from New Haven, who's a 4-year starter. Where's he going to fit into the mix? Ryder Langsdale, you covered. Zach Amlin's coming in from Illinois. He didn't really get any playing time there. Probably seen more of its developmental guy. Wushu Diwa came in from Long Island.
Another FCS All-American.
FCS All-American as a freshman. Obviously, you got Hank Zelinskas, who we fully expect to redshirt this upcoming season. But there's a lot of new blood at the offensive line position, and how all those guys shake out. The competition is going to be higher than it's probably ever been in the room under Greg Schiano. Because, while we bring 4 guys back, one is Brian Felter coming off of season-ending injury. Taj White got a ton of playing time last year. Needham, like you said, he started at right tackle, went to left. He was even playing some tight end. I just think that's going to be the most exciting thing in general, to see who the starting 5 end up being on the offensive line, who those backups end up being. Alec, what are you looking forward to most to paying attention to in training camp this year?
Obviously, I'm going to be looking at the offensive line as well, but to mix it up, I'm going to go with the front 7. I know it's kind of cheating combining 2 groups into one, but I'm just going to say the front 7 is one group.
Front 6?
Yeah, front 6 for Rutgers at least. The front 7 is the general term, but yeah, front 6 for Rutgers. Because for the defensive line, it has been completely overhauled. You have the 2 new pass rushers, you got 3 new D tackles. So that's kind of where I'm looking. I think I would say that Weaver and O'Neal are probably definitely the favorites to start. But I'm looking for that, also the interior, to see who kind of breaks out. Because like I said, they got some new guys. I'm also looking at the linebackers. Obviously Daryl Jabome is the number 1, but I'm looking to see at some of the young guys as well. I know we've talked a lot about them, guys like Sam Robinson, MJ Johnson, even a guy like DJ McClary, who I think has been turning heads. I'm not saying that they're going to start right away, but I'm interested to see how they kind of develop as young guys in the room because, I mean, not a ton of depth. I know we talked about in the last podcast how Austin Dean's returning as to be like that veteran depth guy, but I'm looking to see how they develop. It looks like Moses Walker is probably going to be the starter next to Jabome, but those two, both the linebackers and the defensive line, kind of tie in together how they'll shake out because, like I said, defensive line's completely overhauled. The pass rush has obviously been a bit of a struggle and a thing that, the coaching staff has talked about wanting to improve and looking to get better at. So those are just that's the main thing that I'm looking for is how the front six looks completely overhauled from last year, more so the defensive line than the linebackers, but also how the young linebackers look.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on that real quick just because I'm so intrigued to see what happens if Moses Walker ends up being Moses Walker of 2024 or 2020. Yeah, 2024. Like, what do they do? Like, because Sam Robinson's still kind of young. Like, you just named DJ McClary, true freshman. I guess Kamar Archie's there too, and he looks like a scary motherfucker when you look at his photos. But like, I'm gonna pop it up real quick just so for reference. Like that's a true freshman. Like, what are we doing here?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm really intrigued to see what they do. Like, is Sam Robinson able to step up? Is MJ Johnson ready? Is McClary even close to ready as a true freshman that's been here for what, 6 months, 7 months now? There's so many question marks about that linebacker room, and that might make or break the defense, maybe, kind of, because I trust the new guys you talked about in the front four. I trust the new guys behind me, but if I'm the linebacker room, it's like I trust Jabome. I think Jabome is phenomenal. He turned into a really nice piece. We've read some, I forget where we read it. One of the articles said like NFL scouts are like watching him really closely this season. They think he's a guy that could end up being a solid draft pick. Now Walker's this question mark. What do you do? Like, I'm just very concerned about that room still, even with the addition of Austin Dean.
And that was kind of last year. We saw the linebacker when the defense was struggling, the linebackers were struggling. Obviously, the pass rush was struggling, and obviously there was a lot of injuries as well. But that was kind of one of the cruxes of the issue is that the linebacker room kind of struggled. And then as the season went on, Jabome in particular got so much better. So I could see that being a potential make or break part of the defense as well.
Yeah, and you'd think, given that what we know about the transfer portal, that linebackers are not the most expensive position to go find in the portal, and given what they've done at other places like defensive line and offensive line, the staff, well, the depth chart to me is kind of concerning, given we have Jabome is really the only kind of solidified starter and guy I feel like you can feel pretty confident in trusting. They must really like what they've seen out of some of the younger guys at the linebacker position, because they didn't, you add Austin Dean, which we've talked about is not going to be an impact player for this defense. They must feel pretty good about where they're at linebacker, because I think they would go out and kind of bolster that position if they didn't. So that, I think, is definitely the most interesting position on the defense to follow in camp, for sure. But we'll have the entire wall-to-wall coverage of training camp as from the time it starts until opening kick on Thursday the 26th, I believe, against Ohio at home.
26th, yeah. Is that what it is? Jeez. 28th.
28th.
Yeah.
28th against Ohio. So we'll have more on camp tomorrow, but for now, that is all we've got on that. The last news item I have here, is Rutgers. We've covered the AD search a lot recently. Rutgers has parted ways with the recruiting firm / search firm, whatever they call it, Turnkey ZRG. Rutgers seems to be doing a bit of a hard reset on this AD search. Not ideal, obviously, after you've had the seat open for almost a year already. But Turnkey has been told their services are no longer needed. What's going on here with this situation, Rich?
What a joke. Sorry. It's just such a bad look. You could blame whoever you want. Like, I know fans on our board are like, Greg Schiano's getting involved. It's his fault. Like, no, it's not Greg Schiano's fault. And then it's like, well, no, it's this guy's fault. It's that guy's fault. I think personally this is on the board of governors, and it's really their fault more than anything. Again, to take it for what it's worth. But when you have one candidate and you solely focus on one candidate and you offer that candidate and he turns you down after about a month of waiting after the offer, it's a pretty bad look. They really didn't go elsewhere. I know Turnkey gave them a list of guys, list of candidates. Obviously, Polisi was on that list. He was he was actually told he was the number 2. That's been a week now since we reported that he was kind of like, hey, either tell me if I'm going to get the job, otherwise I'm out. So I'm assuming at this point he's probably out. Based on everything else we've heard, President Tate is not too happy with how the process went. More so, he's probably the words I was given was pissed off. So again, I mean, take it for what it's worth, but he's going to be very involved this go around. Now, the question is, do they stick with the business approach and go for a business guy or a business woman first and then get an AD as the number 2? Or do you just say, screw it, I'm done with you guys' approach. You tried that, didn't work clearly. So we're just going to go straight up with an athletic director. So that's really going to be kind of President Tate's decision. And President Tate's heavily involved because not on top of what we're telling you now and what we've heard via our sources, but on top of the fact that now you see Greg Schiano talking about it at media days, President Tate's involved. I really trust him. I think he'll get his guy. Pikel on the Pikel podcast is like, President Tate's involved. Like, he's going to get a guy that aligns with his vision. He's now heavily involved. And it's like, I forget the exact quote, but they both kind of hinted that President Tate is going to be running the show now. And it's like, okay, that's kind of what we expected, but this first search had to be, given the circumstances and then the timing, kind of had to be handled by the Board of Governors, but it seems like they kind of also fucked it up. So we'll see what Tate does. I'd be intrigued to see if it's another SEC name when it's all said and done, like Kelly's in the number 2 at LSU, where he was just at. Was the AD at West Virginia a couple of years ago? I think on an interim basis, and then also worked under Oliver Luck at West Virginia, who's also a well-known athletic director throughout the country. Wouldn't be a bad candidate. I think Sean Fraser is probably always going to be on that list. He is now the new Joe Susan of the coaching hot board, aka the AD hot board now. Just a guy we throw on there just because, he's going to be interested. I don't know where else they go. Maybe you just start reaching out everywhere. He was at South Carolina for a couple of years as the provost, I think. I think where else was he? He was somewhere else, Tate. But either way, I don't think it has to be one of those connections. I think it's going to just completely do a whole new search. And I think you'll probably spend money on another search firm and just throw away these Rutgers dollars, for lack of a better term.
Yep. Hopefully they're able to have a pretty efficient search this go around. You've seen schools like Maryland be able to hire an AD in less than 2 months. So there's no reason I feel like Rutgers can't do the same. And maybe they'll have an AD in place by the start of the season. I'm not confident in it, but we will see how things go. We will have everything regarding the AD search and any updates for you guys on the boards and also in your podcast feeds. But I think that is all we've got for you guys today. Alec, Rich, you got anything you wanted to hit on before we head out of here today?
You go.
I got one thing. So, top 40 recruit for 2026 for the basketball side, Davion Atkins said a final 6 that Rutgers made. So they're in there for one of the top kids in the 2026 class, and he will be visiting Rutgers September 18th, which is the Iowa blackout game, I believe.
Love it.
Is it? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. Last thing I got is let me think. This has to be football related. I had something on the tip of my tongue and now I can't remember it. But I'm just excited for the season. It's here. We'll probably have something tomorrow, and we'll probably talk more in depth about how excited I am because I actually get to see football for a change. Mind you, they don't do anything tomorrow, basically. Spider pads, like they're not going to tackle each other. Like it's just going to be very boring. So don't expect a whole lot of in-depth stuff tomorrow. Don't expect a whole lot of there goes my chapstick. Don't expect a whole lot of in-depth stuff this entire training camp because it's like the best kept secret in college football is Rutgers football practices. So don't expect a whole lot there. We'll give you as much as we can. New roster tomorrow. That's one of my favorite days because you get to see the weight changes, the gains, the losses, the leans, I guess, whatever you want to call them. Who gained some more muscle, all that other good stuff. New numbers, too, of course. Position changes. I'm sure there's always going to be one. So, yeah, I'm just excited to get the roster in my hands, see what it looks like, and see what the team looks like, too. I think this has the chance to be the best Rutgers football roster in a long time. I think the schedule doesn't help matters, though. So we'll have to wait and see how they do. And until they play the games, we really don't know.
I had one more thing football related. So it came out today that CBS Sports ranked the Big Ten quarterbacks.
Saw that.
One Ethan Kaliakmanis ranked 16th, which I think is a little
Jeez.
ridiculous. 16th out of
That's a bad
18,
take.
only ahead of Drake Lindsay at Minnesota and Ryan Brown at Purdue, which I think is a little ridiculous. He's behind Malik Washington, who's a true freshman. I mean, granted, a pretty highly touted true freshman, but he's a true freshman at that. Preston Stone at Northwestern, who was formerly the starter at SMU. Billy Edwards Jr., who went from
Really
Maryland to
stinks.
Wisconsin. Yeah, I was not impressed with Billy Edwards at all. I think he had a better supporting cast than Ethan did at Maryland. And the main Maryland game I watched was when Rutgers Maryland played. I was not impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Aiden Childs, kind of similar situation. Who's ranked 11th. Yeah, I don't know why. Ethan, he's just not getting the respect at all from any of these rankings, not just CBS Sports. Seems like every ranking of the Big Ten quarterbacks, he's always in the bottom half, which, he's not one of the best guys in the conference, but man, I think he's better than 16th.
I'm not sold on the Iowa kid either. I know he's just right above him, Mark Gronowski, whatever it is. I think he's okay. Obviously, he was like really good at the FCS level. It's also the FCS level, and it's an Iowa offense. So good luck, buddy. Like, get ready to run the ball 60% of the time. So I don't know. I just think there's just too much hate on Ethan. Ethan's the best quarterback Rutgers has had since what? Gary Nova, easily, like without question.
Yeah, the numbers aren't gonna light the world on fire, but if you watch the November games versus the first half of the season, it's clear that he had a clear improvement. I thought he looked like a top half Big Ten quarterback in November.
I mean, 28 points per game too. Like that was
exactly.
That's for Rutgers offense we're talking about. Like this is like holy shit. Like now get 30 this year, and then we're like, click on the gas a little bit.
To have multiple true freshman quarterbacks be above him who have not played a snap. You have just a lot of guys who barely played or haven't played at all ahead of him is just kind of disrespectful, and I think we're going to see that used as fuel for a guy like Ethan coming into the season. But,
yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we got. We'll be back tomorrow with everything Greg Schiano and Ethan Kaliakmanis had to say from camp and what you guys are allowed to talk about. We'll talk about new
nothing.
Talk about anybody who's left the team, because usually those rosters are pretty revealing as to who's still on the team. We'll talk about New Jersey numbers, and it's kind of all we got. I want to thank you guys for listening once again. For me, Richie and Alec, this has been another edition of the Net Report podcast. Signing off.